Okay, we have a couple of examples we're going to look at, just two for this one. These problems look very similar to the other few problems that we've already done, that we've looked at in the previous videos, if you're watching the other videos. What's different, though, is that you can see in both of these that the coefficient in front of the variables is negative. So that's going to present us with a slightly different challenge when we get to the point where we're ready to get those coefficients down to 1 so we can finish solving. So remember, the first thing we do on these is we get the terms with the variables by themselves, okay, and then get the constants together on the other side. So I'm going to move this 4 by subtracting it, and I'm subtracting it because it's being added on top. So we'll subtract it, so you do the opposite, which is just what you do. All right, you got negative 2b is greater than negative 10. Now, what I'm going to have to do, if this thing ever lets me write, is I'm going to have to divide by whatever my coefficient is so that I can get my coefficient down to 1. So the number, the magic number, is negative 2. I'm going to have to divide by negative 2. Now, when I divide by negative 2 in an inequality, remember, you have to turn your sign. You have to flip your sign the other way. All right, so this goes away nicely. I get b, and then it's going to become b is now less than, and then do negative 10 divided by negative 2 gives me positive 5. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Negative divided by a negative is a positive answer. So I have less than 5. So let's try this with a number that's less than 5 and see if this works. Let's use 0. I like using 0 whenever I can. So let's see if this is right. So all I did was I substituted 0 in the original equation. So you have negative 2 times 0, so that goes away. So I have the statement 4 is greater than negative 6. This is a true statement, so that means my answer holds up. And we can move on to the next problem. All right, for this one, same process. Let's get the term with the variable by itself on the left side of the equation where it is right now. So we're going to do that by getting rid of the constant by doing the opposite to it. So we're going to subtract it. It's being added, so we will subtract it. Goes away over here. You get negative 12 over here, and then you get negative 2/3 f. And so my next step now is, if you remember, when you have a fractional coefficient, you are going to multiply by the reciprocal of that. And if it's negative, you have to multiply by the negative reciprocal. Right? Well, actually, if it's negative, you still multiply by the reciprocal. It just so happens that the reciprocal is negative at that point. So we'll take this and we'll multiply both sides by negative 3/2. What that does over here is it not only gets rid of the fraction, but it gets rid of the negative sign, because the negative times negative is a positive. So you get f, and now because we multiplied by a negative number, we have to flip this sign around. So f is now greater than 12 times 3 is 36. Negative times negative is positive. 36 divided by 2 is 18. I could have also done cancellation and made that 6. Make this 1, and then you can get to the same thing. So what they're saying is, hey, if anything greater than 18 should work for here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a number, and because my variable is multiplying by a fraction with a 3, I'm going to use something that's a multiple of 3. So let's use an easy one. Let's use 30. All right, let's go negative 2/3 times 30 plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 9. Well, let's check this out. 30 times 30 divided by 3 is 10, right? So you have negative 20, because negative 2 times 10 is negative 20, plus 3 should be less than negative 9. So you get negative 17 is less than negative 9. That is absolutely true. Remember, these are negative numbers, so it's kind of like the opposite land. So that means that my statement f is greater than 18 is a true statement, and I can use that well for my answer. So again, multi-step problem solving, nothing too complicated in these. You just got to remember that when you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number, that you've got to flip that sign around.